Well, we are certainly getting some more snow here in Island Pond, Vermont. Here's what I've been up to this past week. Certainly looking pretty decent out there. What do you guys think? Rock's Honda 3 tracks. You think she's gonna go good in the snow with those slicks? Hey, not bad. Well, that was a complete fail. Let's see how the Yamaha Warrior does. The 2014 Ram 1500 EcoDiesel. The EcoBoost would be a Ford like this one. What made me get this truck is I do a ton of traveling to go pick up wheelers and bikes and all kinds of stuff. I wanted something good on fuel, and this seemed to fit the bill. I like my diesel pickups. I've had a Ford 7.3 Power Stroke before, but for what I do, I don't need a 3/4 or a 1 ton. Half ton does just fine. This is the first year EcoDiesel, 2014. So being the first year, obviously they're probably gonna have some issues, but I didn't hear about any of the issues. I didn't buy this new. I bought it a year old. It had like 18,000 miles when I bought it. Right now she has over 207,000 miles and over 6,000 hours between drive and idle time. It's still got the original engine, original transmission, everything. And guess what? She still runs good. I'm not gonna say I didn't have any problems with this. Like I said, I bought it with 18 or 20,000 miles on it, and I drove this thing 80,000 miles trouble-free. At 100,000 miles, I started having a couple issues. Of course, the 100,000 miles was the end of the warranty. First thing I noticed, I started losing coolant, which was caused by a leaking EGR cooler. And guess where all that coolant was going? Right in my intake, so that's not good. But I caught it fairly soon. Took care of that problem, so I won't ever have that problem again. I do all my own work to my vehicles. This thing did leave me stranded once at 120,000 miles, just quit. No signs of anything, it just died. And it would crank over, would not start at all. I hooked it up to my scanner and was showing crank position sensor. I said, okay, what's going on with that? In the back of the engine on your flywheel, there's a tone wheel, they call it. And then your crank sensor's up underneath, and it reads that tone wheel to detect the engine still turning, you know. What happened is that tone wheel delaminated. Might still have some pictures of that job that I did, but I did it all myself. What sucked, I mean, it was a cheap fix as far as parts, but labor, you know, it would have been expensive if you brought it somewhere. Transfer case had to come out, transmission, and then you can finally get to that. I think the actual tone wheel was only like 60 bucks or something like that. That ended up being a recall later on. Of course, I did all my own work, so they're not going to compensate me for my labor, I don't think. They might pay for the part, but I didn't even bother with it. In 200,000 miles, I've only done 2 sets of brakes, rotors and pads, driver's side wheel bearing, replaced the shocks in the front. Then just the normal maintenance, engine oil changes, transmission fluid changes, rear end fluid changes. She is getting a little rusty now here and there, but that's every vehicle around here. I do not regret buying that EcoDiesel at all. Empty, not towing anything, 30 miles to the gallon or close to it. If I got my trailer with that 4-seat side-by-side on it, she still gets 20 miles per gallon. I was just looking back at my notes. I did have a couple other problems, and they were both at 195,000. So one probably had something to do with the other. So first, the alternator stopped charging on me. A new alternator for this thing is expensive. 900 bucks expensive. I took it out, had it rebuilt. Cost me like 65 bucks to have it rebuilt, and it charges perfect. But about a week after I got that fixed, also had my key fob go bad. These are expensive. I'm sure if you had to get them programmed, they'd be expensive as well. But luckily, I got an Autel Maxxis MS906TS, and this thing's been a lifesaver. I can program the key fobs by myself with that. But of course, when you go to do that, it asks for a security code. For that security key, you got to call a Dodge dealership. Some of them will tell you they're not allowed to give it to you. A good dealership will call it in for you and get that security key for you. But other than those issues, she's been good to me. Yes, we can certainly see 30 below here in Island Pond, Vermont. Here's a cold start I did on the EcoDiesel last year around February. Now you can plug this truck in to warm it up, but I have yet to do that. First off, I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving.
Morning guys, it's February 4th. A little cold this morning again. We're going to try to start the EcoDiesel.
On this thermometer, it shows about 32, 34 below, somewhere around there. We'll see what the truck says. see here. That's stuck at 24 below, maybe. We'll see. Oh, she's turning slow. There she goes. Truck says 27 below. Did start, always starts. Good truck, best truck I've had so far, actually. He's cold though. He's cold. Seems like a lot of you guys wanted to see the Ford here. This is a 2012 Ford F-150. This truck right here is what convinced the hardcore Ford guy to buy a Chevy. This has the 3.5 EcoBoost in it. I bought this from the original owner. I've never drove it. It was broke down when I bought it. I'll show you what's going on. If you guys know anything about these 3.5 EcoBoosts, you probably know what's going on. This truck had 100,000 miles or somewhere around there. As you can see, she's a little bit of a storage rig right now. But I'll go ahead and open up the hood. So the original owner of this bought it brand new. It went good for him up until it didn't. He was just driving it and it completely shut off on him. Had it towed to the Ford garage and they told him it was throwing some kind of cam code. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but he got that fixed. Drove it for another 30 or 50 miles, somewhere around there. Just completely quit, brought it in. They told him it needed a new engine. They never actually tore the engine apart. He just wanted to get rid of it, so I ended up picking it up fairly cheap and knew it might need an engine. I bought this a few years ago. What happened is, check this out. This tensioner failed here. Ended up jumping time. I said, well, no big deal, as long as it didn't jump more than a tooth or two and bend the valves. So I threw a bore scope down each one of the spark plug holes, and guess what? It did hit. Didn't really look like they hit hard. I thought I might have been able to pull the heads off. I'm sure the valves are bent. Change out the valves in the original heads and get away with it, but I really won't know without tearing it all apart. I figured it would just be a good backup truck for me if this thing ever did break down. Well, getting new jobs even on Thanksgiving. You know, I try not to make this a common thing where I pick up customers' machines, especially on the holidays. However, this was definitely an exception. Let's go ahead and get her unloaded. So this is a 2006 Honda TRX 450i. The owner of this has been after me for a little bit, and he wanted to bring it over the day before Thanksgiving. And I was busy. Asked him where he was from. He was in Lowell. I said, hey, I'm going to be in that same town during Thanksgiving. We're going to the in-laws. I told him the road where I was going to be on. He said I live on the same road. So obviously there was no sense of him making a trip over here if I was going to be right next to his house. So I picked it up. She's got some issues. He just got it not too long ago. Traded it for a Honda Rubicon, I think it was. He said it does run and drive. He's been driving around, but when it gets hot, it'll die and it won't start for a long time. So something's going on with that. He watches my videos on here. When I get to this, he said, I want to see a test run, I want to see a top speed run. So you guys will see that as long as the road's kind of cleared off. Go ahead and try to fire this up. And pull the choke out. Ooh. Boy, that starter or something doesn't sound good when she's turning over. Tried turning it over for a while, choked it, unchoked it. It didn't even pop, so I don't know what's going on with that. I have to throw that battery on a charger. These things run the tiniest little batteries in them, so you want them running in tip-top shape, otherwise that'll happen. All right, guys, I just got some new tools in the mail. So I don't care what I'm working on here. These are my two go-to tools every single day. 1/2-inch impact wrench and my 3/8 ratchet. Actually, I also use my 3/8 impact wrench as well a lot. But right here, this company, Alloy Man, they sent me their tools, so we're gonna try them out. Now this is 480 foot-pounds. Does not compare to the Milwaukee. Price is a lot less. The Ratchet is 60 foot-pounds. That's actually very comparable. I think my Milwaukee Ratchet is only rated for 50 or 55. I have no clue about this brand or these tools. I have never heard of them, but hey, I'm gonna give them a try. They're cheap enough where, why not? This Ratchet right here is only like 75 bucks, long reach, which I like. For about 75 bucks, you get a couple sockets, 2 batteries, and the charger, and the Ratchet, of course. Let's see, the 1/2-inch impact. Right, so here's the 1/2-inch impact. That was a little bit more, 115 bucks. Comes with 1 battery, the charger, some sockets, and a few extensions. Now I am going to put these things to the test. I'm going to try them out. I'm going to put the Milwaukee to the side for now, use these things as much as I can, and see how they do. Got the 22mm on there. Let's see how it does breaking off a lug nut on a Nissan Rogue. Let's try my pickup. She doesn't like lug nuts on vehicles. Now this will snap them off no problem. However, that's like 900 or 1100, maybe 1100 foot-pounds of removing power. This is only 480. So let's try her out on what we're gonna be working on most of the time. See if we can remove a lug nut on a ATV here. Yep, pretty good. I'm gonna test them out and see how they do over time. What do I plow with? Well, I can show you what I plowed with the past few years.
We got a little bit of snow last night, so I'd probably better start this old diesel up and get the plow back on it.
Let's see how she starts today.
So, hoping it doesn't take too much.
Battery's a little weak. But with the old diesel out of commission, it's not running so good right now. So I probably won't end up using that this winter to plow unless for some reason I rebuild it soon. So I'll probably end up using the Kubota. I plowed with that a few times last year. It works pretty decent. Well, funny you should mention that. I actually did buy one. Let's go check it out. This right here is a 2010 Polaris Ranger HD 800. So she's not in too bad a shape. As you can see though, she is torn apart. I got a heck of a deal on this thing though. The guy was just sick of it basically. It's got some nice fuel rims with Maxxis Bighorn tires. Same thing with the rear. And that's where the bumper and stuff is. What happened to this thing is the rear axle got stuck in the transaxle. As you can see, he tried to weld this to it and tried to pull it out and it just wouldn't come. So I'll probably have to cut this all out, pull the transaxle out and rebuild what I need to in there. Then I'll get a new CV axle, but not a huge deal though for the price I paid for this thing. Like I said, this is the 800 twin and it does have EPS, the power steering in it. Like I said, it's not in bad shape overall. It's got a roof with the sound dampening in it, half windshield. He fired it up when I got there. It sounded good. I drove over to Malone, New York to get this, which is about 3 hours west of where I am here in Island Pond, Vermont. But I couldn't pass up the deal. $1,000. She'll definitely need some work, but it's not going to need a whole lot of money, I don't think. All right, guess what's back? Yep, the 2008 Can-Am DS450X is back. Now, this thing's been here a couple times. I'm sure some of you guys have seen some videos on it. So the owner calls me up a few days ago and says, "Hey, Rock, guess what happened?" I was thinking to myself, oh no. He said, "So I will admit I was sending it pretty hard, flogging on her pretty bad, and it just grenaded on me." And I was thinking, oh no, we just did a bunch of work to that thing, starting with the wiring harness, new fuel pump, and just a lot of little stuff on that thing. But there was a small crack on the engine that somebody had repaired before, so I was thinking he ran it out of oil. I said, "Did you check your oil?" He said, "Oh no, it was good, it was good." I said, "Oh no." So do you want to do a complete engine rebuild? I said I can. It kind of went silent there for a minute and then said, "Oh no, I'm just joking." I said, "Oh, okay. So what do you want? What are you actually calling for?" He's got a few different things that he wants done to it. The thing still runs good, which is great. He was a little hard on this thing. He said he went over backwards, did a wheelie, busted off the muffler there, ran into a tree on the front here, so the bolts pulled through. So gonna need a new bumper. If you guys remember the top speed test I did with this thing when it was here last time, this rim was wobbling pretty bad, so it was shaking a little bit. I didn't give it all it had, but I tried her out pretty good. It's not actually the rim, the axle's bent a little bit, so we got to do that. He hit a rock on the rotor here, so that's bent pretty bad too. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can see it. So we're gonna start on the rear, replace the rear axle, get some rear brakes on it, obviously change that rotor now, get a caliper on there. He wants the shocks rebuilt all the way around. He's gonna dump some money into this thing. New exhaust system on the back. She runs good, but he wants to freshen up the top end. High compression piston, I think he said Wysico, whatever. Oh yeah, and the battery was dead when he went to start it today. Of course, it's cold out, so we're gonna have to replace the battery. But I'll go ahead and boost this. Let's listen to her again. Not as loud as I thought it would be with that. Well, she certainly still runs and certainly moves right along. We'll certainly see some more snowmobile content this coming winter. So tomorrow is my birthday. My wonderful wife got me a brand new snowmobile to ride this winter. Well, I can ride it for 8 hours. She got me an 8-hour rental on a brand new sled, which is awesome. I've been wanting to try out the new engine in the Polaris snowmobiles, the S4 Pro Star engine, which I think is pretty much the same thing as the Razor engine, so it's not going to be a powerhouse. However, it's a new engine. I still want to try it out. I've already tried out the 650 Patriot, the 850 Patriot. They go good.
They're going. Oh, yeah, no, you get onto her. She's got some power. Glad I get to try this out, though. She'll lift the skis up. Both very linear power. But I want to try out the Polaris's 4-stroke. This poor Thundercat, I haven't touched it since last time you guys saw it. So yeah, she got me that rental, which is awesome. But we've been talking about sleds here and there, and she's starting to see some pile up in the yard. And she knows it's going to be a long winter, so she wants a sled herself. We're going to go check some out today, sit on them, see what she thinks. Not new. Probably going to be looking into a higher mileage Skidoo Gen 4. Not that we want high mileage, but it's probably going to be in the budget. But she's going to go sit on a few today, and we'll see what she likes. On another note, some of you guys have been asking if I have any merch or how you can support me. I do have a website where you can buy, Rock's Power Sports stuff. Not a lot of stuff. There's coffee mugs, a couple shirts, maybe a hat. It's certainly nothing I make. I just designed the little logo here, give it to the company, and I do get a few dollars from each sale. Mr. Arkansas Wavin himself he's almost the first person to purchase anything. He bought a Rock's Power Sports coffee mug. My brother actually also bought a Rock's Power Sports coffee mug, but he's the second person anyways. If you ain't got the extra money, or if you just don't like the stuff, don't worry about it. But for those of you that do want to support and you got extra cash, you can go out on my profile and it's Spread Shop. It'll open you up and you can see a couple different things I got in there. But you better believe when I try out that new Polaris, I'll be doing a test drive review video on it for you guys. We certainly got some heavy wet snow last night. Looks like it took one of our branches down on that tree. This thing was dropped off here last night. This is a Suzuki Eiger 400. I didn't think we were gonna get this much snow. I was gonna move it in the morning. Should have moved it last night. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna try to start this thing so I don't have to tow it over, but we'll see what she does. I know the battery's dead on it. Nothing. There she goes. But, oh, looks like she needs a battery to run. Oh man, our trees are freaking right on the ground. More apple trees. I don't know why the apple trees still have leaves on them. Kind of weird. Oh, they're right on the ground. Anyways. Like I was saying, this is a 2002 Suzuki Eiger 400. Customer brought this to me last night. He bought it and it had a Chinese carburetor on it. Never ran quite right. So he looked through all the forums and what he found was the OEM Suzuki Eiger carb is a ton of money. What he found on there was a Honda TRX 450 carb actually works very good on these. So he bought a brand new one of those. Ooh, that's hot. And they got it running, but it just wasn't running right ever since. It actually did fire up with a boost. It won't run without a battery though, I see. So definitely need a good battery in there. And it's definitely idled up way too high. Probably just some adjustments on the carburetor. This should be a pretty easy one, hopefully. It's certainly looking pretty decent for snowmobiling so far. We didn't find one yesterday. Still on the hunt. I want to say thank you for everybody that wished me a happy early birthday yesterday. And thanks for everybody that bought any merch. I definitely got a few orders last night, so that was great. Looks like I gotta go clean up this mess.
I
now.
think it's time to go check out some of the snowmobile trails.
Now, they are certainly not open yet. They don't open up till December 15th if we have enough snow to open. But I got a nice little trail that goes up through the woods here.
That runs up to the snowmobile trail, so I can kind of get an idea of what it's looking like.
Let's go ahead and fire this up, let her warm up. Oh yeah, that'll work a little better. This is a key basically to these Skidoos. There she goes. Let that warm up. Certainly had a good birthday yesterday. My wife actually, she's been working with my daughter all week to get her to say happy birthday, and she did it. It was the cutest thing ever.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Good job.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Good job.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You have fun? Oh no, we stopped. I'm definitely excited to try out that S4. However, if you bought the Skidoo with the 900 turbo, that's a little different story. That's 180 horsepower, somewhere around there. Polaris S4 is going to be more around this. This is the regular Ace. This is the 900 Ace, non-turbo, 3-cylinder. This thing's pushing around 90, 95 horse, somewhere in there. And the Polaris S4 is rated somewhere around there. They didn't give specific numbers, I guess. It just says under 100 horse. So I'm guessing it's got to compete with this thing. But anyways, let's go check the trails out. That darn worry over here. The last time I did a video on it, I stopped it right there. I tried firing up, wouldn't start. It's just been there ever since. One of these days I'll pull it over and work on it. Certainly isn't froze over yet. This is the actual trail system here. This is what the groomers will be grooming this winter. Looks like we got a tree down the trail there. Obviously needs some more snow, but I'm telling you, this is a great base, especially for November 28th right now. So it's looking good this year. Hopefully it keeps up. As far as that Polaris S4 review, I'll probably do a long review on YouTube. When I first started YouTube, it was mainly snowmobile riding. So I know I got a few subscribers on there looking mainly for snowmobile content. So that'll definitely happen. I gotta get back to work and go work on that 6-wheeler.